In this video, we are going to do 16.06 join. Okay, so I have the problem opened up in Racket. So let's just scroll down, look for problem A. Finish writing the template for NE list of string. All right, so notice that the template step is not checked off. Okay, so let's review the data definition. NE list of string, which stands for non-empty list of string, is one of either cons string empty. So this NE list of string, it's never going to be the empty list, right? There's always going to be one item in it, that being the string, right? Or cons string NE list of string, right? So we're dealing with a self-reference, and this allows it to be more than one long, right? It could be 2 long, 5 amounts of strings, 3 strings, 10 strings, etc. Okay, and here is the signature for the template, right, that you should write. All right, so pause the video and try to write the template, right? Just scaffolding it out for NE list of string, all right, for this data type. All right, I'm going with spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, I'm assuming that you took a good swing at it, so now let's go over it together. So define NE strings temp, right, consumes a non-empty list of strings. So let's call the parameter string list, right, just for short, okay? So since this is a one of, right, we're going to need a cond here with 2 branches matching it because there are 2 here. Okay, so the first case, right, it's not going to be empty question mark, right, of string list, right? Because there's no empty, right? Empty is not going to be it's not, part of a non-empty list of strings. It's going to be cons string empty. So the base case here, right, the question here would actually be the length of the string list and whether that's equal to 1, right? It's a bit weird, but that is the definition here, right? Because this is a one long list, okay? And we want to do something in that case. Otherwise, right, we want to take the first of the string list and then do something with the recursive call of NE strings list temp with the rest of the string list, okay? And of course, let's wrap this around some dots because you probably want to do the combinator here. Okay, so hopefully you got that right? We've seen the recursive template several times, and this is probably the first video you have to write it from scratch, right? This is a challenge. Anywho, gonna scroll down here and let's move on to the next section. So write a function join that consumes a non-empty list of string and an additional delimiter string, right? Like so. The function produces a single string consisting of all the list elements joined together, separated by copies of the delimiter, right? For example, join cons A empty with a slash being the delimiter should just produce the string A. Join the list string A, string B, string C, right, ABC, with the delimiter slash should produce the string A slash B slash C. All right, and they gave us the signature and the purpose statement here. All right, so pause the video and try to work through this on your own. I'm going for spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it, so now let's go over it together. Okay, so let's stub this out. So define join. So join takes in 2 arguments here, right? And non-empty list of string and the string itself, the delimiter. So call it the string LST and then call the delimiter like so. Okay, I think I spelled delimiter wrong. Delimiter, okay. And it produces a string, so let's just use a empty string as the dummy value. Okay, let's write some examples here, right? Let's actually copy these examples that they gave us because those are good enough. All right, so join of the list string A, all right, and the delimiter slash produce A, right, the string A. Didn't need that extra parentheses. All right, let's do a list that's too long. Let's come up with one off our own, right? So on our own. Let's do a cons U on the cons, let's say T empty, okay? And then the delimiter would be, let's say, this greater than sign, right? What do you think this would produce? Well, according to the purpose statement here, it would look something like this, right? U, and then the greater than sign, that being the delimiter, and then T, like so, okay? And for the 3 length long case, we can just copy this, right? Check expect, ABC, with the delimiter, a slash should be A/B/C, right? The list ABC, all right. Okay, so it's a good amount of tests. Let's run against our stub here. We get a good amount of mismatches, but that's fine. Okay, comment out the stub here, grab the template and paste it down, join, rename it like so. All right, this function consumes 2 arguments, right? This non-empty list of string, which is going to be this, and then the delimiter. So let's just copy and paste the name here. All right. All right, so now really pause the video and try to work through the solution for join on your own. I'm going with spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it. So now let's go over it together. So looking at the examples here, right? So join cons A empty, right? So a list that's 1 long, which is this base case right here, right? With slash, we just want to produce the string A, right? Imagine if this was, a different string, right? The string, Z, right? We would produce Z, right? So looking at these two, we need to produce the first of the string. In this case, it's going to be A, and then in this other test case, it's going to be Z. So this base case should produce the first of the string list. Okay. Now, what happens when there are more than 2 elements, right? Like in this case, there's 2 elements, U and T, and then in this case, there's A, B, and C, right? What do we do in those cases? Let's focus on the U and T case, right? So we had to produce a string, and we're gluing strings together. You can look in the documentation for things that consume and produce strings. In this case, I know that, we need string append to glue strings together. All right. So what do you want to do with the string append? Well, we want to grab each letter in the list, right? Each item in the list, and we want to append the delimiter, right? So this first of the string is going to be that each item, right? It's going to be U and then T in the next iteration. We want to put a delimiter between them, right? And we're given the delimiter, right? So let's just stick it here in the middle, like so. And then what do we want to stick it onto, right? Right, the first, so each part of the list, right? Each string of the list, we want to put the delimiter afterwards onto what afterwards, right? Well, onto the recursive call to join on the rest of the list, which we'll assume will fulfill its purpose statement, right? Gonna run this code, and let's see, join expects 2 arguments, but only found 1. That's gonna highlight where this error is. So join takes in 2 arguments that give it 1, right? So we have to pass in the delimiter, right? Right here, right? This join takes in 2 arguments. We only give it 1 argument. So let's just stick the delimiter in this call. It's stated that it has to be there, that comes along for the ride. And I'm going to run this code. And all 4 tests do pass, like so. And you're free to comment things out and step through it and write things in table format to get a bird's eye view. Anyways, last step is test review and refactor. I'm going to space this down because I don't like how it's like going off here. So I'm going to hit enter, Control I to reindent, like so. And it looks pretty good. All right. So submit this into handin, right? So this error should not be here when you submit it, and check your grader score and make sure it passes the test on the server side. All right. Anywho, that is about it for this video, and I will catch you in the next one.